Welcome, everyone. This is SatiSeva, and this is an affinity group associated with Recovery Dharma. SatiSeva is 16 mindfulness practices that focus on reimagining recovery and support. This is an environment for people who are in recovery and for people who are friends, allies, family members, professionals, anybody in a supportive capacity wanting to learn a little bit more about the effects of negative habit energy, the consequences of negative habit energy, and how to creatively find ways to nurture and heal. I'd like to invite the chime to sing and welcome us all to arrive fully to this 90-minute practice. Today, friends, I'd like to share with you a sentiment of metta. Metta is loving kindness, one of the limitless qualities that we cultivate in our Buddhist practice, and it's also one of the aspects in the mindfulness chapter that we're studying for the month of November. This is the last. This is the last practice for this month, and then in December we start a whole review of our practices. Today's sentiment of loving kindness is this one, and this one reads, "May your stumbles reveal new sights. May your stumbles reveal new sights." Friends, this is the SatiSeva book that we use, and we are studying the 16th mindfulness chapter. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, SatiSeva has been um, evolving for the past 5 years. And we just recently, in September, published this book. It's been a 5-year project of love and effort. And today we're going to finish up with the 16th mindfulness practice, which is love. Love, friends. And today, for our practice, we're going to explore a couple of things. The first is I'm going to bring forward a tool in our mindfulness practices. I call them instruments of peace. And this specific instrument of peace is an acronym, NPR, not the radio station. NPR. It stands for N, notice. P, pause. R, respond. NPR, notice, pause, respond. So this tool, that acronym NPR, is all about taking a moment to observe, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? And treating whatever we're thinking and feeling with a degree of neutrality, a degree of objectivity. So, for instance, let's say we are feeling an arising of hurt, like your feelings are hurt, you're taking something personally. That happened to me yesterday. And rather than entertain that egoic voice that likes to say, oh, well, it's not personal. You don't need to take anything personally. They didn't mean anything by it. You don't have to be so sensitive. And immediately we're in that dismissive mode where, oh, right. I'm not supposed to feel hurt. Hurt is negative, and I don't need to feel that. To be loving to myself, I'll just dismiss that and say we're just going to be happy all the time. Well, it's actually a really disingenuous and inauthentic way to treat ourselves because the reality is something happened. I noticed that something was said. It hurt my feelings for whatever reason. I'm taking it personally, and that's all there is to it. That's the practice of noticing. It's completely neutral. Wow, this person said that. I'm taking it personally. My feelings are hurt. Huh, would you look at that? That's another instrument of peace. And that lets me pause a second. Huh, would you look at that? I'm feeling hurt. My butt cheeks are tight. Huh, fascinating. Pausing to simply acknowledge that that's what's real for me right now. And in that space of pause, that's when we can give permission to that egoic voice. I often say things like, okay, go, have your say, stand up and give your report, egoic voice. And it always says similar things. Julia, you don't have to take everything so personally. Well, to that voice, I say, that's an exaggeration because I'm not taking everything personally. I'm taking this thing personally. And it was personal and it's okay. So I'm pausing to acknowledge that. And I'm pausing to acknowledge it in this way because I don't want to react to my loved one who said something hurtful, who said something that I'm taking personally. I don't want to say something unskillful, like something I seriously have said before, and I'll quote myself. That was a shitty thing to say. Not helpful. Not helpful, people. True. It was an absolutely true thing to say, but not particularly kind and not particularly helpful. Totally reactive, right? So the response is, I've taken a second here and I've noticed that when you said this, it stirred up some hurt for me that I'm taking personally. And I'm pausing a second because I don't think that's what you intended. And I want to acknowledge that. Um, and I want to let you know that if you see me going a little bit silent, it's because I'm taking a moment to reflect on this. NPR. And that's called owning the heart mind, as opposed to very common reactions that are like, that was a shitty thing to say, or what do you mean by that? What are you talking about? Just those reactive ways that we can sort of bite and nip at one another. So by creating the conditions for this practice of NPR, this tool, what I'm doing is I'm creating the conditions for loving myself, and I'm also creating the conditions to love my loved ones so I'm not reactive. It's a powerful, powerful tool. Notice, pause, respond. Now, I want to place a disclaimer. And this is a practice, which means sometimes the noticing can take time. It can take an hour. It could take a day. It could take a month of reflection. And in all of that reflection, you're pausing and you're waiting. And you can even tell someone, hey, you know what? I'm in a place of pause and deep reflection on an interaction that we had. But I will get back to you in a way that I want to be skillful and respectful to you and to myself. That's the NPR practice. and give yourself full permission to give yourself all the time you need. Today, I'd like to share with you as an invitation for a meditation that we're going to do today. That's also an instrument of peace. It's called Tonglen. It's one of the most loving expressions of meditation. And I'm going to guide you in a practice that is enormously gentle. But I'd like to give you a little perspective. And this is a book called Glimpse After Glimpse. And this is Daily Reflections on Living and Dying. And this is actually today's reflection. When we have prayed and aspired and hungered for the truth for a long time, for many, many lives, and when our karma has become sufficiently purified, a kind of miracle takes place. And this miracle, if we can understand and use it, can lead to the ending of ignorance forever. The inner teacher who has been with us always manifests in the form of the outer teacher who, almost as if by magic, we actually encounter. This is the most important encounter of any lifetime. Here's what I want to instruct. There are a couple of key things in this passage. The first is the idea of karma being so purified. And I'd like to share with you a little bit about karma from the Buddhist perspective. Karma means action, friends. And so, whatever we do with our bodies, with our speech, and with our minds has a corresponding result: good, bad, neutral. It is said that the tiniest seed of karma can be like a drop of poison that can cause death, or a drop of water that can nourish and nurture a magnificent tree. And the thing about karma is the negative karma that ripens for us in Eastern philosophy is actually a gift. It's an opportunity for us to pay attention, to apply the NPR. But we're so habituated to trying to get rid of all the negative as much as possible, cut it out, get rid of darkness, get rid of evil. It's this dualistic setup that's incessant in our consciousness in the West. The East is very different, which is why this Buddhist practice is so unique. Because when our karma, our negative karma is ripening, something happens that doesn't feel good. It's an opportunity. It's something knocking on the door of our heart and mind. Sometimes it's pounding. Sometimes it's urgent. Sometimes it just blows open the door. But it is always there with a single message, which is wake up to your precious human life. I am here to teach you something. When something really good happens, It's a knock on the door. It's an opportunity, and it has a single message that says, wake up to your precious human life. I'm here to teach you something. This is ripe for your learning. And as we learn these things, the karma purifies. And so we have fewer and fewer lessons, if you will, or at least the impact of those lessons, it diminishes. We are more and more awake, more and more illuminated. And so what happens is that inner teacher, that inner voice, that bodhicitta and Buddha nature guide manifests externally. So this teaching goes. It manifests as a teacher, which is a really predominant idea in Eastern philosophy, the guru, the spiritual teacher. And I'd like to challenge that notion as a Western woman, because as a woman, the guru and the teacher has not been as accessible to me simply by my gender. And so it is my impression and my perspective that if that inner voice is within me as it is, and it's within you too, and it manifests externally, it's still me. And that external teacher, the best ones out there, are the ones with the cleanest mirrors for me to see myself. The best teachers are the ones who guide me to my knowing, my intuition, my mind, my heart. And teachers are everywhere. I happen to find great teachers in the elements, in nature, in my pets, as well as other human beings. So don't discard life's many, many kinds of teachers. And don't discard that that teacher is alive and well in you. And it is that part of you that we're going to bring forward into a Tonglen practice to cultivate compassion, loving kindness, joy, and equanimity, the limitless qualities in Buddhism. We are here waking up and learning to be honest and real about our relationships to negative habit energy. And negative habit energy has many, many forms. For some people, it comes in the form of a bottle. That's an intoxicant. For other people, it is in the form of pills or injectables. For others, it's in a casino, or it's in the form of food, or it's connected to inappropriate sexual conduct. So many kinds of habit energy that defines the human experience of confusion, ignorance, loss. And so today, the invitation is to imagine your negative habit energy. And to imagine it not as this enemy, really. It may feel that way, and it may be a terrible hardship, but it's also a teacher. So it has a presence. It's ripening in our lives, in my life, to teach me something. So my habit energy, while I rail against it, I battle with cravings about it, I feel ashamed of it sometimes. It is there to teach me something. It ripens before my eyes regularly to show me how my strength is hiding, to show me where my stores of resilience have been tucked away and forgotten, to show me that I'm not alone. Just like me, many people suffer with my kind of habit energy. I'm intentionally not sharing the specifics because it doesn't matter. Habit energy is human, and I want to present it in a universal way. Whatever your habit energy is that you want to gain some relationship to, that's your work, that's your effort. We all have an individual journey, but we're all journeying together. So see your habit energy, identify it, and then take a deep breath in. This is my habit energy ripening to teach me something. And then on the exhalation, when you breathe out, may I feel some ease with my own strength and resilience. Breathing in my particular habit energy and all it has to teach me. Breathing out my strength and resilience to learn something new, creatively, sustainably, gently, compassionately. Breathing in my particular habit energy. Breathing out my strength. We're starting with this little practice of loving kindness here because this is simply a way to create some space for habit energy to exist in us. Again, it's very, very human. And we can try to be severe about it, but that severity is not going to make it go away. It's not going to increase our understanding. We have to be willing to cultivate a relationship, a presence to it, in order for it to reveal its lessons. And now, because this is so human, let's recognize that we're not alone. Somebody else is also dealing with my habit energy, just like me. So I'm going to I'm going to breathe in their struggle right alongside mine. I'm going to take it all in, and I'm going to invite my strength and my resilience to meet not only me, but to meet them too. May they have a little bit of ease. May they find their strength and resilience. May I, in this moment, be a mirror for them to see themselves more clearly, more kindly, more lovingly. We're both suffering. We're both healing. Breathing in my habit energy, your habit energy, our habit energy. Breathing out strength, resilience, creativity, understanding. Breathing in, notice yourself, notice what's happening in your mind and your mood. Pause a moment to reflect on that. Maybe write something down or doodle something if you need to. Maybe if you need to move, maybe you're feeling a little anxious and you need to shake. Do that. And then respond in a way to yourself that is gentle and kind. Maybe take a couple of deep breaths. Come back to this practice of breathing in negative habit energy in whatever form most plagues you. Breathe that in for someone else. And breathe out the gift of this practice, your strength, your resilience, your good karma. It is miraculous that we have access to the Dharma in the West. That we found each other in this time, that we're practicing together. This is karma ripening right here. Everything matters. Nothing is wasted. Breathing in the negative habit energy. And friends, this includes the regrets you harbor. This includes the self-doubt and even the self-loathing, the insecurity. This includes the recurrences that you may have experienced in your life and the frustrations. All of it's there. Breathe it in. That's what's real. And breathe out. Here you are, still practicing this precious life. It's amazing. Breathing in all of this awareness. Breathing out. It's a response that is full of love and care and encouragement. Breathing in. Anything and everything that's hard, challenging. Breathing out the affirmation, I can do hard things. Breathing in. Breathing out. Friends, I'd like to take a few moments of silence and I'd like to give voice to sort of an immature, egoic voice that I entertained for many, many years in my life. And it would say things like, well, Julia, all these terrible things are happening to you because of your bad karma and you're such a bad person, which is why, these bad things happen. And my conditioning kept encouraging me to try to drown out that voice somehow. And I would drown it out, especially with food. That would be my go to. Distractions, sometimes alcohol, but anything to get rid of that voice. Like, no, it's not true. It's not true. No, no, no. I don't want to hear that. No, 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 no. So reactive. And it wasn't until I started practicing something different by saying, that's true. My karma, my negative actions are ripening and negative things are happening. That is absolutely true. I can look at that. I can be honest about that. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. And there it is. Because it's not the whole truth. Because right beside all of these negative things that are ripening, if I only focus my attention there, I miss all of the positive things that are ripening too. And one of them that was ripening was I was learning Buddhism. I was growing in my awareness. I was seeing, oh, right, this negative habit produces this negative action, produces this negative consequence, produces this negative feeling, self-doubt, insecurity, regret. Huh, that's an easy chain to see. And I have the strength, the power, the creativity, the resilience to do something different. And one of the first things I do is I'm aware. Look at this. Look at this sequence of events. And somewhere in that chain, I can add a new link and start a different chain. So if you have that voice that's strong in you, that likes to say things like, all these bad things are happening because you're so bad. It's important to cultivate some strength to be able to say, you're right, that's true. And it's not the whole truth. You're not seeing the whole of me. You're only seeing my shadow. And the truth of me includes my light. So don't forget to breathe in your shadow with full acknowledgement and awareness, and breathe out your light. It will guide your way. But the miracle is it will help guide others too. That's what it means to be a teacher, a guide, a guru in this life for yourself, for all of us. Let's enjoy a few moments of this silence together. And I do hope you enjoy your practice. Friends, as we take a step toward the conclusion of our practice today, I just invite you to bring your hands intentionally to a posture at the level of the heart. And you can put your hands in prayer pose, or you can have your hands resting on your heart. The heart chakra, this energy center, is something the Buddha would have been well versed in India. It's an ancient Hindu tradition of understanding energies in the body. At the level of the heart is the place where the physical three chakras, the root, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus reside. And above the heart are the three spiritual chakras, the throat chakra, the third eye, and the crown. The level of the heart is where the physical and the spiritual meet. The level of the heart is what is received from the earth, ascending, and what is received from the cosmos, descending, coalescing, swirling, spiraling at the level of this heart, the birthplace of compassion, to be with. It includes your arms and your hands. And so remember that when you place your hands at the level of the heart, you're tapping into that energetically. It also happens when you hug someone and you wrap your arms around them and you place your hands one on top of the other at the level of the spine, center back, and your hearts beat as one. It is a reminder that we are connected to each other at the level of the heart. We are connected to everything. And this connection has never been broken. It has existed since beginningless time. We are here to awaken to this precious human life. And our lives are the instruments that we use to experiment with awareness, with love, with peace. So, with that, I'll bow deeply to the sacredness of us all, each and every one of you, including me, all of us, Buddhas to be. So, I just invite you to take a posture in your body that entertains the word noble. In Buddhism, noble is a predominant word. I think another synonym for the word noble is mature. Another might be magnificent, authentic, real, whole. So I'd like to invite you to find a word that best reflects your embodiment of noble and put that in your body. Be that notion, be that word, be that synonym. And just close your eyes if you can, or if it's comfortable. And I'd like to end our reflections today with a bit of awareness that may have gone unseen. It's a bit of an undercurrent that is subtle and shy. When we think of the word love and I think of the word love and I think of the mindfulness practice of love, I have a propensity to put the word love in this elevated, pretty place. It's positive, it's light, it's gorgeous. And love is so much more than that. The container of love, the spaciousness of love, has the capacity to hold the rot, the despair, confusion, regret, shadow. It is the ultimate non dual place. It's the place where bothness really comes alive. And so, what we're endeavoring to do by practicing mindfully coming into the present time awareness of love is to not disregard anything and to remember that the practice can be everything. There is not a moment in a person's day that cannot be framed in the structure, in the encouragement of mindfulness. Mindfulness is just simply present time awareness. And so the practice is coming into it and coming out of it and coming back into it and coming out of it and so on and so on. And it's allowing that spaciousness, that love for all of the negativity to arise to be seen, acknowledged, honored for the teacher that it is, for the ripening qualities that it has. Because remember, our karma connects to our legacy. So when something is ripening within us that's negative, that's hard, and we take a moment to look at it lovingly with just a degree of compassion and care, we are healing not only how it's ripening in us, but that ripening connects to every single ancestor in our entire lineage. And we are healing that stream of consciousness from the past that has come forward in the present, and it will continue on in the future. That is the expansive, limitless, infinite nature of love, and it is noble indeed. And you, me, we are its face, its body, its form. What a thing to bring forward. What a thing to share. For our dedication today, friends, I'd like to read for you the invocation of this book, the SatiSeva book. May the wisdom of love encourage presence and care. May the tenderness of love be forgiving and accepting. May the strength of love nurture healing creativity. May the eyes of love gaze with gentle belonging. May the divine call to love ripple far and wide. I dedicate this book to loved ones for all the ways they inspire, challenge, and shape us. This book begins on the note of love, and it is a thread that is woven throughout every single page. So it is no wonder and no accident that it ends with love. We are so well loved, friends. The challenge is to receive it, hold it, share it. May you go into your day feeling this nobility of love, and may you have the courage to radiate it fully for the benefit of us all.